Well, welcome everyone. This is the session ArcGIS Field Maps, making your life easier on your staff. And we have presenting today Carl Alexander, who is Cityworks subject matter expert for the GIS and mobile applications. And we have Jeff Shaner, who is the Field Apps product lead with Esri. And before we get started, I'd like to take a couple moments to address some housekeeping items. If you would like to leave a comment or pose a question on this session, if you go over to the left and see the Live Now button along that left edge, you click on that and go to the section on questions. You can leave a question, and we'll try to address those as the time permits. If you're having any technical difficulties, if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a question mark, and you can click that and get some ideas on how to do some troubleshooting. And if you'd like to leave the session at any time, we'd like to remind you that there's a Leave Session button at the top right-hand corner. And we'd prefer that you do it that way, that kick you back out to the conference lobby. And we ask that you don't close your browser, because if you'd like to come back later, it could cause some issues in getting back into the conference. And the last item is we'd like to have you visit the ratings and the review module in our navigation bar. There you can leave some reviews or some comments about the session. We always encourage your feedback because we do value that input, so we can make future events even better for you. So with that, I'd like to turn things over to Carl and Jeff, and you guys can take it from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich. Good morning, everyone. We're really appreciate you being here. We're really excited to spend the next 30 minutes talking about field apps and how to incorporate that into your Cityworks workflows. So really quickly, Cityworks Safe Harbor Statement. Just kind of have to put this in here. But for our agenda, we're going to let Jeff Shaner kind of give you an introduction and kind of that overview of ArcGIS Field Maps and the capabilities. Then I'm going to show some examples of Cityworks with field maps. So some mobile examples with the mobile app, and then also some ArcGIS, the tracker functionality, some examples of that within the Cityworks map. We'll let Jeff kind of wrap it up on some road mapping for the field maps, and then we should have some time to answer some questions. So submit those throughout the presentation. We'll try to get those answered, and if not, we can always reach back out later. So Jeff.
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, and thank you for the opportunity to present today. Appreciate it. I wanted to start with Esri's strategy around field operations and get to the point of why we have decided to build ArcGIS Field Maps, give you a bit on that overall strategy. For the past roughly 8 or 9 years, we've been building out a suite of very focused applications to complete a variety of different activities, from taking your maps and planning the work that needs to be accomplished in the field, to getting to the location of the work, to capturing information in the field and doing asset maintenance type of workflows. And we've built this suite of applications as a part of that you could chain together to complete a variety of different workflows. But there are some definite challenges with that approach, especially when it comes to the iOS and Android operating systems, where applications are very boxed, and content needs to be locally on the device in its application space, and you need to remotely control and launch multiple applications to complete a variety of workflows. So go to that next slide, Carl. What we did in our approach is that we've decided to bring those apps together so that you could have a unified experience that simplifies the life of your mobile workforce. And where we are right now, we did our initial launch in October of last year. We've had a couple of pretty significant updates since. We've brought together the capabilities of ArcGIS Explorer for map viewing and map markup. We've brought together the field data collection capabilities and asset maintenance capabilities of ArcGIS Collector. And we've merged in the recording and sharing of location that was a part of ArcGIS Tracker into one application with field maps. We go next. So when we look at the mobile application, some of its key functionality kind of listed here. It's our best in breed map viewing. It's built upon the latest version of our ArcGIS runtime SDK. So you have this rich cartographic map experience, all the smart mapping you often hear of from Esri, with the ability to do labeling and build custom pop-ups that use the arcade expression language. We've added support for indoor maps, which we'll talk about in a slide. You have all the map markup capabilities. So if you've coming from using Collector, now inside of Field Maps, you have map markup, which you never had before. You have all the richness of the high accuracy data collection functionality. And we've added all of this new smart form work, which we'll talk about in a minute too, and all the key aspects of location tracking, which you can use for a variety of different workflows that Carl's going to show off. We did update the requirements from a mobile perspective. It does require iOS 13.5 and higher, and Android 8 and higher. So think about that as you're looking at potential migration from Collector over to Field Maps. We also introduced a new web application, and this is something we've been working on for quite some time. We want to simplify the life of the map author that's configuring web maps and deploying them to the field. So bringing together all of the capabilities, reducing the amount of ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise screens you have to work through, having an experience where you can configure and define all the offline capabilities, where you can create and manage these new smart forms, where you can now start to configure new content into your web maps and have that common experience for sharing and deploying them as well. So we're going to expand on that over time, and I'll talk a bit about that in the roadmap, but think of it as your home app for getting started with configuring maps for deployment with the mobile app. Carl, I'm gonna say your name lots, Carl. That's okay. I wanted to touch on a couple of the new things just to give you some perspective on it. Location tracking is quite new in our product line. We built an application called ArcGIS Tracker. If you weren't aware of it, we've now merged those capabilities into Field Maps. And it's a technology that looks at the motion and fitness APIs on your device to optimize the way that we can record location and share it and minimize battery usage at the same time. So it looks at recording positions based upon movement, knowing what activity you're engaged in, and then acting accordingly. And it records these tracks in two layers, a last known location layer and kind of a breadcrumb layer. So you could use that, last known location layer for situational awareness, knowing where your mobile workers are, and the breadcrumb for, kind of that location history if you want to do, checks on, where people were when they were accomplishing work, or you need to provide that history of locations as part of your record for compliance, then those are available. And built into the ArcGIS platform is a system for, securely sharing out views of these tracks with others so that, they can have that operational awareness. The other kind of key feature that's introduced as a part of Field Maps that's brand new is the smart form capabilities. And we're just at the starting point of this work, really. We've added in the ability to take your attributes that are part of your feature layers and organize them into groups, format them in different ways, qualify whether they're required to be entered or if they're read-only, apply conditional visibility logic to those fields, and we've added a designer experience to make that all come to life. But what's really important about this effort is that it's one that's spanning our entire platform. So it's kind of tip of the spear is Field Maps, but It's supported in the map viewer. So you have this nice, rich editing experience in the new map viewer. It's supported in the JavaScript API. It will be coming to Pro, and its definition is embedded right into the web map specification. So our partners will be able to take advantage of it as well. A key aspect that we leverage in our relationship with Cityworks and with Trimble in our implementations is the concept of app linking. The little video that is playing on the slide is a side-by-side or split view on an iPad showing where you could tap on a link anyone could generate and remotely control the Field Maps application. We did this with Collector in Cityworks in the past, where Cityworks Mobile could launch Collector. Now we can do this with Field Maps, and there's a variety of different actions you can take when you launch the application. So something to look at on your own, but also know that this is really the linchpin between different applications that our companies build. Next one, Carl. So we wanted to touch briefly on the indoor mapping, and we're really at the start of this work as well. One of the key things that we've done is we've looked at the indoors information model that's a part of the ArcGIS indoor system. And what we've done is we've said, okay, when a web map or a map package includes layers that follow that model, we'll present a floor picker for you so that you can filter your map based upon the facilities and levels and units that we discover that are in the map view. And this is really just a starting point for the work that we're doing. You'll see it in the road ahead slide, but we're going to bring in the indoor positioning system and improve the way that you edit and collect data indoors as well. Go to the next one, Carl.
Too cool.
Always fun with those embedded videos. Yeah, so I think it's over to you for some workflow.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it, Jeff. And this is pretty awesome. You know, as somebody that had to manage Explorer and Collector and Tracker and really have to kind of manage all those apps and all that data, to see Esri really kind of combining these and merging these together it is really exciting stuff. But yeah, so just want to now give you a couple of quick, workflow examples of utilizing, here is with our mobile app and with Field Maps. And for anybody that doesn't know, it's 9.1 and 10 now have the app linking to Field Apps. So in this example here, we're going to open up a hydrant inspection, and we'll go through there and see the different fields that you can go into the mobile app and utilize. But we'll start the hydrant inspection and the observation, so it's accessible. But we get there and it's broken. A car has run into it or something has happened to it. So now we see some instructions here for the field user to go ahead, create the work order, but also update the status of that hydrant. So now, with the app linking, they could add that work order here, but we can also open this up in Field Maps. And since it's utilizing the same web map that we were just seeing in the data or in mobile, now we're opening up that web map and being able to click on that hydrant and see that information for that hydrant. And actually go in now and go ahead and update that. So we'll go ahead and change that status of that hydrant. Let's go ahead and change it to out of service. We'll go ahead and sync that up, and now the status of that is out of service. So we're very quickly being able to let your field staff start to edit attribute information, out in the field to be able to give everyone some real-time data about that hydrant. But there are a lot of organizations that say, hey, I don't want field staff to update our GIS data, but we do want them to go ahead and let us know, when something's happened. So in the same exact example here, we can go into Field Maps, and instead of updating the attribute information, we can go ahead and create a markup. And so using the markup tools here, a field staff can now go onto that hydrant, put a markup point there, and update some information around that markup. So we'll give it a label here of hydrant, click OK, and then we can go in and give it some notes. So out of service. So same exact workflow, but now we're going to let everyone know, this is out of service, or let, managers know or GIS staff know that, hey, can you go ahead and change the status of this hydrant? And so you can save this markup. You could text it, you could email it, you could take a screenshot there and, share it to a group, or we can actually go in and save this as a markup layer into our organization. So here I'm going to say this is a markup layer into our ArcGIS Enterprise. And we'll just go ahead and quickly save that to our enterprise into a group. And this will allow your GIS staff now to open it up in your enterprise. So here's a web map with the same web map that we were utilizing there in Field Maps and mobile. We can search for that markup layer and go ahead and add that to this web map. And now, so somebody in the back office, a manager, anybody that needs to see this can see that layer. And if you want, say, your GIS staff to be the ones that are updating attribute information, now they can go in and pull this in and update and utilize that attribute data and really quickly, streamline that workflow instead of, a lot of places will call around or send emails or texts, or maybe not even let anybody know at all that there's issues and things that need to be updated. So this really streamlines that update process. We can also go in now, and a really big trend that we're seeing is field staff, buying and getting high accuracy GPS units and actually collecting and creating data out in the field. So this will save GIS staff from having to come back out later and maybe read GPS data. So here we have a new install. So as you can see, there's a school there. They decided that they needed to install their GIS. They needed to install a hydrant for the school. So they'll run through that process now. And then as part of that process, they'll update and create that GPS point. So click right back over to Field Maps, same location here. We'll zoom in a little bit, and then you have this button there in the right-hand corner for add. So normally, with me not being in this location, normally you would just hit that add button there and go ahead and take your GPS points, but I'm going to go ahead and just click on that map there and pick my ad set and pick my hydrant there. And we'll go through, we can give it this any attribute information that they want, and we'll go ahead and update and submit that point. And then now, after that's been created, you can see that on the map. We'll click back to our mobile app. We'll go to the map and actually zoom in. And there is the hydrant point, since this is using live data, with that, for both of the applications here, you're actually able to see that attribute or that hydrant, that they just created. So really, really being able to kind of streamline, a lot of these field workflows, that may have a lot of different steps or having to send people back out or might not even be getting captured at all. And now we're able to really let the field staff quickly capture and create data. So that's awesome. That's great for the field staff. So what about some of the office staff? So Jeff, talked about Tracker for as part of the field maps, and we were able to bring that data actually into Cityworks. So here I'm showing a respond map. I have before we start here, I have 2 users. I'm not based around since I'm in Tennessee, so but we're able to take 2 users and add them into the map here. And so we have our open service requests in this situation is dispatched to me. We also have our points of last known location, which is both vehicles here. And so we're able to, very quickly be able to see, what's going on. So somebody back in the office, a manager, somebody in customer service can see, the service request, can see the field staff where they are at any given time. And then I've also have the track line in here filtered out for the last 12 hours. So if somebody needed to see, where has this vehicle been today, if that's what you wanted, you could go ahead and turn that on, and then have a filter on to where you zoom in really close, you can actually get the points, the track points that are getting captured, as the tracker app is on and taking, points from that location as they're driving around. And go ahead and click on one, and a ton of attribute information is available on that, including, as we scroll down here, including the timestamps. So you really are getting that great location as part of the Field Maps apps, of where staff, have been, and where they are currently as well. It's really beneficial and really useful to be able to see this data and this information, in the office. So it's a great little workflow there. Let's go ahead and actually, as you can see, so the way that this is configured, it's a web map utilizing the tracker data in here, and as that as part of the web map, you can actually refresh your data. So I actually have like a 30-second refresh on my vehicle as I was driving it around, and started recording here, and we're speeding it up a little bit. But as you can see, as long as that map's up for anybody to look at, the vehicles will keep moving in real time. And so we are able to really be able to utilize, throughout the day where everybody's going. So for your normal day, this is great. You can see, maybe up here, this field crew, this one's dispatched to me. Well, maybe I want to go ahead and change that to field crew 1 because they're close and they're right there and can, be able to save and utilize a lot of time there. Emergency, in emergency situations, you'll be able to, have everyone, turn on the tracker app, as part of Field Maps, and be able to see where everyone is, and being able to utilize that. And this is just bringing in a couple feature services, with some security things that need to be done, just bringing those in and utilizing that in the Cityworks map as you would any other GIS layer that's out there. So let's just, for the sake of time here, so we'll just kind of speed this up. As you can see, it just kind of goes through and, and moves around. So awesome. That's real time, pretty close to real time information, but you might also want to utilize the data that's being tracked, for historical purposes. And for the example here I have is, being able to track and utilize and view data historically in operations dashboard. So here I have a dashboard that's set up. It's kind of the same day that I was looking at, and that we're driving around for the real-time data. But we can go ahead and now do some filters. So I want to filter on me. So I'm going to just go ahead and now see my information. And then, but I want to see, hey, there was a complaint or what happened on this day. So let's look on the 8th here. And what that filter did was was able to filter on my track lines and any completed service request by me by the completed date. So as you can see here, I completed a couple of service requests that day, and you can see the track lines for me, just me, on that day. Very quickly being able to take that historical data and really be able to track that. So you can go ahead and click on that. And so we'll zoom in here really quick. We'll click on this service request and see that, hey, it was completed at 2:30. And then also be able to click on those points now and say, so 225. So that looks really good. You know, you're able to pair that up with both applications. So you have your track data, and then you also have your Cityworks data all being filtered off that one filter, you know, at the same time. And, you know, you can even kind of go in here, and now we can filter those out and being able to look and see, you know, different things. Being able to really start to make decisions, you know, field complaints or different things like that. Part of that also is just filtering out is the track points here, which we're capturing the miles per hour. You know, in the ops dashboard, I was able to, you know, be able to, as you can see there, it's be able to set it up to where it highlights any, for this example, anything that's over 40 miles an hour. So if you needed to, you know, parse out, you know, users that might be going 80 or different speeds, you know, so they get highlighted here, you know, as we're looking through the data, you know, we're able to do that, you know, really quickly and really easily as well. And you can do this for anything, not just miles per hour. You could do it on, say, priority one service requests and things like that. So this is just very quickly utilizing it in the ops dashboard to take, you know, that historical data for managers that might want to take that and just kind of review that and take a look at that. So really quickly, Jeff, you want to hit on the roadmap?
Yeah. Maybe just a quick point to make on that last demo too, if it's all right, Carl. Is,
yeah.
We've been seeing a lot of interest and early adoption of pairing the tracking capabilities with ArcGIS Velocity, so that you can get real-time events. So when you know, a mobile worker gets on site, you know, at a location in a known geofence, being able to trigger that and show that update, or look at the from an analytics perspective, the history of the tracks and where people have gone and where they haven't, especially with contractors, and being able to look at your level of service commitments there. A lot of really interesting workflows you can use with that location data.
Mm-hmm.
Just real quick on the roadmap, we do have an update coming in July that we've announced that has some fairly good improvements to forms, to data collection work, adding a new setting, a map setting for those that need to be tracking when they're actually using field maps, so that when the map opens up, it tells you, hey, you need to start tracking, and you may have forgotten to start it. We're doing a lot in the web app on the map authoring experience, so you see a bunch of great new updates there. But one of the things we started into beta on that's available right now is support for utility network. So something to look at moving forward. We'll be bringing the workforce piece in later this year, and then you can see from this roadmap we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming. So I'll end it at that. I see Mr. Rich is on, so we probably want to do some Q&A.
Well, guys, we've only got about 2 minutes, and there are lots and lots of questions. I think what we might do in this case is that all of these questions are going to be saved with this session, and we can take each one and try to address them with the speakers or with the subject matter experts in our companies, and try to get each of you the answers that fully answer the question and the source for what you've got. So let me just refresh it here real quick. Yeah, there's there are pages and pages and pages of questions. So I think it'll probably be best to address it that way, since we've only got about a minute left.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through here. I did see one that the sessions are being recorded, and they should be available pretty shortly, I believe, for anybody that wants to do that.
There's a question about Windows. Go ahead.
Oh, ArcGIS Tracker, it is a separate license, correct?
It's a separate license if you want to use it with like a viewer user type or a creator user type. But if you purchased field worker user types, it's included.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay anything extra for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something new now, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that's all our time. Jeff, Rich, guys, I really appreciate it. Hopefully, I think it was a great session. So,
Yeah, thank you both. Fantastic job.
Thank you.
yep. Thanks everyone for attending. Really appreciate it. We'll get these questions answered as soon as we can. So,
Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.